Hello, today we're going to be looking at how to go from a rough surface like this to a mirror finish, looking at sanding techniques and the different finishing products so it lifts your work up to an excellent standard. So we've got a piece of softwood here which we've turned. You can see it's not perfect, so how do we get it to a really good finish? So let's start by talking about sanding. So let's start at the beginning. Abrasive paper. I use 5 main grades: 120, 180, 240, 320 and 400. Now for anybody who's starting out, we use a 120 to get rid of the tool marks and any other marks in a piece of wood. That will leave scratch marks behind, but then we use a 180. The 180 removes the scratch marks what 120 is left behind, and you can guess what 240 does. I use cloth backed abrasive, so I can stick it to velcro and hold it on some attachments which I use. So good quality paper is essential. Cheap paper will last no time at all and will not give a good finish. So let's have a look at using this now. So I've got my piece of abrasive here. Again, we always sand underneath so the dust goes from the paper down to a dust extractor. So let's hit the extractor on, the lathe now running, and you should be able to see the dust going down the dust extractor. Now this is 120, so of course this one first, keep just flicking the dust out from the paper so it doesn't get too clogged. You'll see how much dust comes out. Once you've used that first grade, which is 120, have a look at it. Are the tool marks out? If the answer is yes, let's go then to the next grade, which is 180. Again, keep it moving backwards and forwards. That's 180. Now 240. And we'll keep going down the different grades. So now the last grade is 400. So again, moving backwards and forwards, stop the lathe and have a look. Now if you've any radial sand marks on there, just wipe the dust away. You can just sand it by hand going with the grade, and that will get any radial marks out. Once you've done that, we'll just get a piece of paper, and when you use paper for finishing, a safety cloth which you can buy like from Chestnut and other places, this is just some industrial wool. Make sure it's plain. I've had people say to me before they've used it and they've used kitchen roll what's had a pattern on, and that has actually created a problem because the colour has come off here and gone onto there when you've used cellulose sanding sealant. So please be aware of you can use tack cloths, but I don't find it's necessary. I'm using some cellulose sanding sealant by Chestnut, and this will seal the wood. Now people say, can we put wax on first? You can put wax on. The only problem with putting wax on, it will stay on the top at the moment, but very shortly will start to soak in and the gloss finish will go very matte. So it's important to put a sealant on first. So I've just got a piece of cloth, just go put a small amount on my cloth and lead, apply it to a wood. So you want a nice even coat on. I'm just doing this underneath so you can actually see it going on. So one coat should be sufficient. With cellulose sealant like this, it dries very, very quickly. Let me just clean the dust off there. There you can see better. That is touch dry now. So let's just give it a buff up. So just using a piece of paper just to buff it up, and that dries it off. So we've got a nice smooth finish now. I don't use steel wool because it's highly flammable. I tend to use this red pad. The white one is non-abrasive, so if it's razor grain, and it can do very slightly, just hold this underneath again and just give it a quick rub over, and that will take any roughness away and sand it down to finish it to a really smooth finish. Now this is now ready for a wax finish. So today we're going to be using Wood Wax 22. Others on the market say like a paste wax, we apply it and buff it up. So choice is yours. I just like using this. It's as good as finish for any when you're learning. We'll talk about other finishes as we go in this demonstration. So let's apply some of that wax now. So as you can see, it's just a paste. Don't need a lot on. That small amount there is sufficient. Apply it with a lathe stationery at the beginning. So just rubbing it in, just rubbing that on along the full piece. Now I can just feel it to drag a slight bit, so that says that's all you need to do with that first stage. Second stage, switch your lathe on, use the same piece again, just go and fold it over onto the back, and then just move along, and that buffs it. Don't apply too much pressure, otherwise you'll be removing over wax, but just move it along. Just be careful when you get near the centres and drive centres. So let's stop the lathe and have a look at that now, and that is a really glossy finish. That finish is fine for items not used too much handling wise. If you're using anything what's going to be handled a lot, think of a harder finish. A spray lacquer is ideal. Now please put a coat of sanding sealant on first and then apply the lacquer on top, and that will give a really hard surface finish. Other products are oils. Now with an oil I tend to use on wood bowls, platters, food safe ones. Do not apply sanding sealant first, because if you put sanding sealant on first it will not soak in. So oils go onto a bare surface, not a pre-sealed one. But oils can be used on spindle work as well, but I prefer waxes on spindle work and oils on wood bowls, and we'll look at oils in another video later on. So if you're enjoying this, please think about subscribing. If you want some personal tuition, if you go to the box below, drop down the description, you can see that there's a link to my website where I do small one-to-one Zoom meetings to sort out any problems you may have. These range from half an hour upwards, but it can solve a problem very easily for you. So thank you for watching my video. Stay tuned for the next one. Cheers, bye.